So, originally from Armagh, Emma Kane has lived on the north coast for 35 years. We keep losing writers to that neck of the woods. What's going on? Where she is an avid ocean dipper. We hear the next bit. No wetsuit required. She writes short stories as a relief from working on her first novel. Emma is currently completing a master's in creative writing at Queen's, and we're delighted she's come back to Armagh to read Life Change. Welcome up, Emma.
Thank you, Betty. This is called All Grown Up. For as long as she could remember, Sive and her da always attended Sunday Mass together. The morning began with his coded knock on her bedroom door, after which da would call out the time at 15-minute intervals in the hour leading up to the designated leaving time of 10:35 a.m. This was their ritual. Ma never joined them, except for First Communion, confirmation. Sometimes Sive wondered if her ma didn't have faith. Maybe she didn't believe in God, or religion, or maybe she was a Protestant. Whatever the reason, she didn't care. Ma told anyone that would listen that Sive was a daddy's girl. She was, of course, an only child. Da worked around the clock, but Sunday morning was theirs. Climbing into the old Mercedes, they'd follow the winding country road to the chapel. She'd talk incessantly. He'd listen, now and then commenting on a good grade or deed. He'd pat her knee, smile at her, ruffle her hair. Sometimes, if she ran out of things to say, she'd sing. Da said she had a powerful voice. The boys from the County Armagh was a particular favourite. She sang enthusiastically. He sat up straighter, chest puffed out with pride. As the years went by, Sive got bigger, Da got smaller. She developed an easily triggered eye roll. Tutting at her parents became like a tic, involuntary. Ma spoke sternly to her about her attitude. She heard Ma tell Da, she's not a wee girl anymore. Allow her a bit of independence, for pity's sake. So he did. He stopped knocking her door to get her up. Left it to her to get herself out of bed, even when puberty threatened to keep her there till lunchtime. She never once let him down. On more than one occasion, they'd missed the designated leaving time. An avid timekeeper, this displeased Da. Despite always being seated in a pew before the first sign of the cross. She'd sing out, try to get his approval. His chest would remain deflated, face deadpan. On offering him the sign of peace, he'd try to avoid her gaze, to remain stern, but she knew he'd forgiven her when he slipped her the envelope for the collection box. That morning she was up in plenty of time, dressed, ready, perched on the end of her bed by 10:20 a.m. She listened to him move around the bungalow, knowing his every move. Finishing his coffee at 10:29 a.m, he emptied the dregs of the mug and rinsed it under the tap before setting it upside down on the draining board. At 10:31 a.m, he took his keys from the hook in the wall, jingling them in the hall before heading to the door, her cue to join him in the car. Inhaling deeply, she paused to check her appearance in the mirror. Still holding her breath, she smoothed down her skirt, her hair, before opening her bedroom door. In the hallway, she stopped to grab her coat, just in case. She opened the front door, just in time to watch Da pulling out of the driveway. He didn't so much as glance in her direction. All of a sudden, she couldn't catch her breath. She was drowning in an ocean of rejection. Her heart pounded, tears smarted at her eyes. Swallowing hard, she closed the door on the empty driveway, the curtain twitchers. His disappointment enveloped her like a black shroud. The dreaded Catholic guilt, always bubbling just under the surface, rose up. Turning to face the Green Mile towards her bedroom, she looked towards the threshold of the kitchen door, where Ma stood surveying her. Her look was accusing. She had never felt so alone. Back in the confinement of her bedroom, her back against the door, she allowed the tears to fall. She wept freely, soaking her best blouse. With swollen eyes, snot tripping her, she climbed back into the bed that had been hers forever, put her face to the pillow. She longed to be his wee girl again, but she knew those days were over. She was 16, all grown up. She didn't feel like an adult. Dropping her hand to stroke her bulging belly, she whispered in her best American accent, "Looks like it's just me and you, kid."